Well, good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to Three's In. Bobo's here. So today, to start with, I have two sets of orders in my hands. Aeronautical orders from 28 April 1970 and aeronautical orders dated 13 April 1971. And this is kind of a synopsis of our class, if you will. We began with 63 of us. And of the 63, 22 either washed out or washed back. They didn't graduate with us. And that was for a myriad of reasons. A couple of them were MOAs, manifestation of apprehensions. A couple of them got hit in the incoming physical we took. One of them sat next to me for a couple, 3 days. I can't remember. I could probably figure out his name as I looked through the list, but I really liked the guy and I was sorry to see him go. And then there were some SIEs, self-initiated elimination. Now, it was no secret in 1970 that we had several draft dodgers that came into the Air Force. And they would come in, go through OTS, get their commission, and then come to pilot training and then quit. And that way they could serve out their commitment, I think 2 years at that time, as an officer rather than carrying a rifle in Vietnam. That worked pretty well until the Air Force caught up with them about 5 years too late. But anyway, they did catch up to those guys, and they started getting some really plum assignments, like Morale, Welfare, and Recreation Officer at Shemya or Thule, or Food Services Officer at Sonderstrom, or something like that. Somebody had to do it. Anyway, so we had some guys SIA. One of the guys that SIA'd was in our carpool, and I liked the guy. He introduced me to a song, Papa Top. Still smile when I hear that. Anyway, he soloed in the T-37. He flew his 3 pattern rides with an IP. They landed. The IP got out. He tied everything up. They took off, flew 3 patterns, came in, landed, went over to the school squadron administrator, and quit. He said, I just wanted to see if I could solo the airplane. That was it. I don't know where he went. He was gone. They didn't like that very much. At any rate. So we started, like I said, it was 63, but we had 50 walk. We lost 22, but we had 50 walk across the stage. And those were guys that were in prior classes, or classes ahead of us, that washed back into our class. In our class, when we started, of the 63, 4 were prior service. I was one of those guys. I was a first lieutenant. The other 3 were all captains. We had 2 Zumbobs, academy grads, who had graduated from the academy and went on to get their masters at Tufts. Good guys, both of them, Ron Sullivan and Ralph Froelich. Unfortunately, Ralph washed out, but Sully graduated with us. And then 57 guys from OTS. Now, what I remember about the OTS guys, they graduated from OTS just across town, Medina, and they got, I think, $1.29 travel pay. That should have told them something, from Medina to Randolph. So that's kind of a sad story there. We had one Danish student, Chris Knudsen, who I still am in contact with. We had 3 Marines, and they were fun to play with. Oh, good God. Anyway, one of them taught me the Marine alphabet. Frickin' A, frickin' B, frickin' C, and so forth. Anyway, the guys that we picked up in the class, one of them, Herb Morgan, he broke his leg celebrating graduating from Tweets by jumping off a rock into the Guadalupe River, and he missed the river and hit more rocks. Another guy I'm going to tell you about here next video or so. At any rate, what this all translated to, if you want to get through the raw numbers and sort it out, we ended up with a 35% washout rate. In our assignment block, we had 1 F4, 1 F-106, 1 T-39, 6 T-38s, 4 T-37s, 1 T-28, 8 C-141s, 7 C-130s, and we had a slug of KC-135s, an EC-121, and 1 B-52, one HU16, one O2A, and one AC19. And then a desk mate of mine, Rod Myers, got an F105. I could tell you a story about that, but I think I'm going to hold off on that a little bit. At any rate. So that was kind of the composition of our class. In our class I know of, and it's hard. I don't keep up to speed with the other section. We graduated, I think, 26 in our section, and the other section had 24. But there are, of the two sections, right now I believe 9 of us have died, have passed away. And several of us stayed in the Air Force for Air Force careers. And I'll share this with you. It's kind of interesting. Of the 26 in my section, 4 of us went on to become alcoholics. Now, I'm not going to tell you who they are. It's anonymous. You get it? But the funny thing is, one of them entered the program about 6 years before the lights came on for me. And what a big help that guy was to me. What a big help. He's one of the ones also that's passed away, and I really kind of miss him, especially when I take a moment here to think about him here today. At any rate, that gives you a little bit of an appreciation for of our class, the composition of it, and how we floated through. Now, in those days, in 1970-71, everything we did was graded. I mean, everything. Simulators were graded. Flights, of course, check rides were graded. And academic test scores were graded. And then they rank ordered us based on our flying average, our flying grades, our academic grades. And then we fell into an overall grade. And that's the way they determined our assignments. That's how we got to pick from that block of airplanes I mentioned earlier. I didn't do too bad in the flying portion. I graduated 4th out of 50. And that's considered I flunked my T-37 contact check, a dumbass. I flew a no-flap simulated single-engine pattern, and approach and landing, and the check pilot wasn't amused. Matter of fact, there's a whole video dedicated to that. Here, you have to dig for it. Anyway, it still kind of annoys me. But I was only half bright when it came to academics. I later learned that I struggle with ADD, ADHD, and WD-40, and I never knew it, but apparently I had a little bit of a mild case of dyslexia. But don't worry, I'm KO now. And I had a great flying career. But that being said, that score, they weighted academics a little heavier than flying. And that score put me down. My academics score was 42nd. And that drove me down to 24th then overall. Yeah, 24th. Crap. Anyway, I have nothing to complain about. I enjoyed every flying assignment I was given. I had a ball. But still, there's that stupid no-flap single engine. Anyway, no worse for the wear, and it kind of reminds me, keep flying till all the pieces stop moving. I wish I'd heard that then. On any given day. So now I'm beginning to ramble a bit. We're going to pack it in here, and I'll move on to the next video. So you can have an appreciation of how our assignments were handed out. That being said, everybody, nice to see you, and we'll see you here in a couple minutes on a different subject. Take care. Bobo, base gear stop.